YouTube here with another package and pickups video. And although I say package and pickups video, it's really more of a gift video, because recently enough it was my birthday. I turned the grand old age of 46. Oh, the years are really starting to catch up with me now. I'm telling you, feeling fear shook. But sure, how and ever, we'll struggle on, as the man says. And as it was my birthday, I got some gifts, and one in particular came with a card. And here's the card. And inside there was a note, which I'll kind of go through. It says, "I hope you liked your custom-made retro-themed card. In this box is a donation of games from our old video collection," I assume it means video game collection, "to yours. Inspired by your package and pickups videos, we decided to put together a special parcel from retro to modern day games. Hopefully you'll find enough in here to make a video about." Now, judging by the size of this box, which I've cracked open the top of just to make it easy to open, yeah, like we could just do the boxing shot. I'm fairly certain that there's going to be enough in here to make more than a video. I have coffee at ready. I suggest it's a good time to pause. But if we're back on, please feel free to do whatever you like with anything in the box. Play, trade, offers, prizes, etc. And keep making excellent videos in 2012. Now that I cannot promise. And then it's signed Freya Plus and Hicks Tengar, two longtime friends, and what I'm expecting is probably going to be quite a pickup video. So I'll just put the card away for a second and move this box down here. I'm probably going to have to unbox it here because it's just not going to work either way. So I'll open it up, and I try not to knock the camera off. Actually, it's today's props are a whole load of magazines that I've stacked up to see. The Christmas boxes are now gone, which I had been propping the camera on, so now it's magazines, which give the slight issue of not being level. But however, as long as I'm careful, things should be okay. And I've just looked in here, and all I can say is, wow. Yeah, when I said it's going to be a long video, I wasn't kidding. It's going to be a very long video. So I really better crack on with it, because I'm already hitting half-an-hour run times. So anyway, the first up is a little bit of Mario Kart Wii paraphernalia, and it is Yoshi and standard kart building set. Now this is Kinects. It's a pity they didn't do, it wasn't Lego that did it, but you can't win them all. Kinects, I suppose we'll accept. I didn't even know these existed until I got the Mario Kart magazine I got at Christmas. I read a bit about the merchandising and whatnot, and they had some of these Kinects things mentioned. And there we go, out of the blue. Apparently there's 4 to collect. Mario, Luigi, it must be 5 to collect because they have Mario, Luigi, biking, kart, but there's also this Yoshi. So apparently you can print a free track panels at kinects.com/Mario Kart Wii. You can make your little track if you so wish. Which that looks pretty cool. Oh, now the decision to open it and put it somewhere or keep it in its box. Well, it also seems to be a pull back and go motor. Yeah, that's a really cool piece. I've seen the Luigi motorbike because my sister was given that as a gift from the same people, coincidentally. So obviously they have a good source on Mario Kart Wii paraphernalia. Kirby, I'm afraid you're going to... Oh, sorry, so Lover, what did you do to them? They're already fighting. Oh my god. Such a prima donna. Where to go next? Where to go next? Do. Okay, I'll leave some of the big items to kind of make room. Next up then we have a kind of a Mario Starman plushie. I have a funny feeling. Yep. It makes a sound. I remember this one quite well. I hope it doesn't go on for too long, or else I'm just going to have this as my background music for the whole video. Oh, there we go. That was lucky. Okay. No, I'm not going to have enough room for all this, am I? You're going somewhere where I won't hit you. You can mind a card. I don't want to randomly have that song tune in. And while on the Teddy's team, frankly the most disturbing teddy in the world, it is Rouge the Bat, or Rogue the Bat, or whatever you call her. Does she have a tag? I don't know, so I can't see her name. But yeah, you only have to look at the bazookas to think, or to know that all wasn't right in the Sonic the Hedgehog world when Sega were coming up with stuff like this. And they wonder why the brown diminished. You can sit over here. Here we go. So, next up then we have a PS2 game, and this is Liberty City Stories. I haven't played too many I haven't played too many Grand Theft Auto games, even though I definitely own at least one. I think I might own two. This was the PSP game. And it's all complete with map build and whatnot. To be fair to this is actually an interesting back to the box. And it looks like Lego. But to be fair to Rockstar, they usually do a fairly good job on their manuals and their box stuff. The packaging it fits the kind of the theme that they're going for, and makes it feel like a cohesive world. And they often have information about the radio stations and whatnot in the manual, so they kind of go the extra mile. The games themselves, though, I've always struggled to get into because I like the core mechanics of the sound play, but when it comes to actually progressing in the missions, I just tend to suck at them. Next up we have a game I've never even heard of, and it is Homeworld on the bestseller series for the PC. It looks like, well, as you can kind of guess from the front cover and the back cover, it's some sort of space shooter game, I'm guessing. Now it's an RTS. For the first time, RTS fans will be able to manage resources and send their armies to combat in an amazing real 3D universe. So this was about to turn into a game, and certainly the specs would bear it out because it's compatible with Windows ME. Not much is. That's interesting. I've never even heard of this. And it's by Syria. It's got all the paraphernalia as well. Oops. I was trying to actually look at this catalogue and the manual dropped out. This is the Syria bestseller series. Some good games in there. Grand Prix Legends, Gabriel Knight, Pharaoh, Diablo, Warcraft, Starcraft, Caesar. Yeah, good games. And then the manual. Apparently this looks absolutely stunning. And you know what? It probably did for 2000. And here's a completely unopened game. Fallout 2. A post-nuclear role-playing game. I've never played any of the Fallout games, even though I know that they get like rave reviews. And it's sequel to the RPG of the year. Well, it could be the RPG of many years, given that the Fallout games usually get massive acclaim. And one of my other friends, Zero, he never stops going on about Fallout 2. I think it's Fallout 2 anyway. It's one of the Fallouts. And apparently the European version had unfinished content, and there was people that, the kind of fan community tried to finish it off, or something or other. You'd think the amount of times he's told me a story I'd remember it, but I don't. So there we go. Can't believe that's even sealed, and nope, no Windows Windows ME on this one. Windows 98. Probably a better operating system. Next up we have Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories, which of course followed on from Liberty City Stories. Now, one of the few Grand Theft Auto games I know I have is Vice City, and I got that when I got my PlayStation 2, which was fairly late in the PlayStation 2's lifespan, because I was more of a Nintendo fan at the time, and I waited for the price to kind of basically collapse. And I mean, look at it nowadays, they're practically they're literally giving away PlayStation 2 games. And I got Vice City because of the music as much as anything else. I used to go out to my friend's house, and I'd play the game, but I'd pretty much just steal a car to listen to the radio. I should have just stole a radio. And then I'd drive around and see what you could kind of, how you could abuse maybe the physics in the game, or, how far could you go with your car and nearly destroy, things like that, as opposed to actually progressing in the missions. But if the music is anyway as good in this one, I actually definitely want to try this one out, because I can listen to the radio again. And it feels heavy, so yeah. The Vice City Inquirer. Again, love what they do with the manuals and stuff in these games. Okay, next up we have the Powerpuff Girls. Yep, this is a very male-centric game. Relic Rampage. It's the pickled edition. What the hell? And there we go. I don't know anything, and of course it's got 3 languages on the spine and everything, so it just looks so full of text. But I don't know anything about the Powerpuff Girls. So it looks like, to be fair, it looks like Dexter or one of those kids' cartoons. Apparently it was $12.99. I just bought the price as well back in the day. This must have been then back before the euro came in. It's all complete, so I can learn about the Powerpuff Girls. So if anyone's played it, you can let me know if it's a good game. It's a GameCube game though, so it's got that going for it. And back to the PC side of things, and the Sega side of things, we've got to get some in there somewhere. It's Sonic Or, with the oh so futuristic, polygon graphics. At least they had the right idea in Sonic Or, where if we're going to do a Sonic racing game, shouldn't Sonic just run because he's that fast? Why would he get into a car which surely must be slower than him? Not like Sonic Drift. Racing, rapid, running, rush? What does the OR stand for? Question mark on all of those? Or for those who can't handle the pace, retire? Well, I've actually completed this game. It's definitely not a highlight in the Sonic series, but it's the same stage. As it's on the explosive range, generally you can pick these type of games up fairly cheap and fairly easily. It's kind of worth it to have a bit of a, muck around if you're a fan of Sonic. I wouldn't recommend it though as an alternative to Mario Kart. Unless you're one of those people who really like the theme song. Can you feel the sunshine? No. Okie dokie. Here. And next up we have a freeloader for the GameCube, which enables you to play import games, which is really cool. Turns your GameCube into an international console. Oh, why couldn't they just come like that? Now these discs are actually pretty damn comes in a standard DVD box. So the disc was like, whoa. But these freeloader things are basically the business from what I hear. I wish all systems had a relatively simple way to play imports, because I believe this is pretty much foolproof. If I'm wrong, let me know, but yeah, that would be good, because then it'd open up the GameCube library, not just the PAL set. And while we're on the GameCube, we have more Donkey Konga. I really like Donkey Konga because, of course, I just picked it up last week from Tushi UK, and it has the points, but they're scratched. Damn it! Of course, the GameCube ones aren't accepted anymore anyway. So another complete copy of Donkey Konga, which you can't go wrong with that. So I'll probably trade the other one because I think the box of this one is in slightly better condition. But if you're interested in Donkey Konga, you might look at the last pickup video. And sticking really with the Donkey Konga team, Donkey Konga 2. I've never played this one, so I really want to try this one because, as I said, like the Donkey Konga games are just fun. Kind of surpassed in some ways with Rock Band now, but yeah, it's a different type of instrument, so it's a different experience. And apparently it features I'm a Slave for You, Don't Let Me Get Me, I Just Wanna Live, Jungle Boogie, Breakfast at Tiffany's, All Star, Runaway Train, and Trouble. I'm guessing that's not the Blizzard's Trouble, and must be some other trouble. Pity, it'd be really great if it was the Blizzard's Trouble. Completion in great condition again. And while we're on the theme of bongos, we have a boxed Donkey, I was going to say Donkey Bongos, DK Bongos. And it even says on the front there, for use with Donkey Konga and Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. So, yeah, you can slap away and clap and do the whole shebang with them. So now I can even play the games. I actually have bongos, but not with me here, so I actually cannot play them. I will not finish the GameCube stuff yet. We have one more, and that is Animal Crossing, one of the absolute classics on the system, at least according to my sister, who loved this game. It's funny because she played it, cleared off the mortgage, did a whole shebang. The only thing she didn't do was kind of like complete, say, all the NES games and things like that, but you know, really got into it much more than I did. In fact, I would be one of those players who I started up the game, you know, created a house or bought a house in the village, and I then turn up once in a while, and every time like the house would be full of rodents and whatnot, and it'd feel like it was punishing you for not playing recently. It's like, God damn it. I've got a funny feeling as well, this might be an import one because the box looks really odd. Yeah, if anyone knows what this is this American or Nintendo of America, that would answer my question. So I guess that's what you need to freeloader for. And they also have, like, the American boxes seems to have some sort of weird cube at the bottom. Very strange. Yeah. I prefer the European boxes. But the game itself is cool. And next up we're moving into the current gen, and it is the Simpsons game. I think I played the DS one of this, but not that much. Let's get back. Apparently it was fairly good, so as I say, I don't really know too much about this game, other than the fact that it was not shockingly awful like some of the previous Simpsons games. You can't beat the Simpsons, which every so often I tend to drop them into my gameplays and whatnot. There's just so many lines, and I suppose that's one of the strengths and weaknesses of the Simpsons games. There is the kind of, well, we want to shoehorn in like the Simpsons lines and catchphrases and cliches, and when you see them in a show, there might be a one-off type of thing or a low occurrence, so it's funny. But some of the games can loop. I remember playing, I think it's the Simpsons Hit and Run on the GameCube, and by God, after a while you got so tired of hearing the character say the same thing again and again. Maybe if you weren't crap at it like me, because it's a bit like GTA, so you know, you're driving around sort of sandboxy. But I think it's meant to be more platformy, so I'm curious to try this out as well. That's a lot of good games. Oh. And next up we have another 360 game, and it is Prince of Persia. Apparently, You Are the Light. I don't know, is this a remake or what this is? Because there's so many Prince of Persia games, I just lose track. No, this looks like a totally new Prince of Persia. It's probably like the whole, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog, called Sonic the Hedgehog on the Xbox, or yeah, on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. So complete again. You can never quite tell if they're doing reboots or just a rebranding or is it a remake. It's so hard to keep track. It's like after so many games they go, God, we can't come up with another name. Let's just call it what we called it first. Oh, another very interesting title, at least to me, and this is Rune Factory Frontier, part of the Harvest Moon family. Now, I was a big fan of the Harvest Moon games. I remember reading about Harvest Moon 64 in N64 magazine back when it was an American import, and just kind of hoping that they'd bring it out, and they never did bring it out into PAL, and I wasn't importing games then at all. Still don't really import too many games. But through emulation I was able to play the SNES game and thought it was brilliant, and played many of the handheld games, in particularly I think Friends of Mineral Town on the Game Boy Advance was probably my favourite. So I spent a long time, when you're in commute, you flick out the Game Boy. I had the Game Boy SP at the time and play with it. I was going to say Animal Crossing, Harvest Moon, and of course Rune Factory is by the same developers, and they obviously want to kind of get a bit of brand tie-in, because it's kind of like you do farming, but you also have battles and things like that. So it's kind of more action quest based. Apparently it was a very interesting alternative, and I think it was right that they didn't just kind of call it Harvest Moon something or other, Harvest Moon Adventure or Harvest Moon Completion. Great connection again. It is a different type of thing, because in Harvest Moon there's kind of no way to go wrong, whereas that I think you can like die or at least not die, but you can lose all your health in a dungeon and whatnot. Next up then, we're moving over to the handhelds, and first we have Lock's Quest on the DS. One of the guys I work with actually, he's a big fan of this game. Like, he said it was one of those games that could have been a massive classic on the system if they kind of had spent a little more time fine-tuning and just kind of getting away the niggles, and as it is, it ended up becoming one of those buried games. Oh, there we go, complete again. The DS was such an inventive system though, and there is so many creative uses of the technology that it is hard to stand out. So this looks like a tower. Build towers, weapons, traps and more. Defend your creations from invaders. Explore kingdoms and new missions. When you see the box art, I have to say, and I'd heard the title, I'd actually seen it before, and I said, that Lock's Quest, geez, it makes me think of the guy from Lost. And he's not the guy from Lost. So I didn't know what was going on. But he apparently won like a Best Strategy Award at E3. Very interesting. Must give it a shot. But with all these games, I'm not too sure what year I'm giving these a shot in. Another one that I've heard of but never tried, and this is Runaway, A Twist of Fate. So it's kind of like an adventure puzzle game. And it's another one of those games that, and the DS is full of them, just titles that have quality or decent products but can easily just get swept away by the tide of games and the tide of brain training clones. So apparently you explore dozens of colourful locations, solve hundreds of puzzles and interact with numerous characters. This actually looks really interesting, because it kind of looks like it might have a bit of the Professor Layton vibe about it. I'm hoping, because that's a great series. And a last DS game, and this one is like, wow, Mario Party DS. Amazingly, this apparently plays fairly well in one player. I've only played a couple of the mini games, again at a friend's house. One of them was like some sort of block puzzle game, and it seemed to go on for so long that like my hands were like, you've aged me like 20 years, damn you Mario Party. But I've always had a sort of love-hate relationship with Mario Party games. Or rather, they hate me, and I enjoy playing them despite the fact that they hate me. Like, there's so much random chance in board games, and yet I always find that when we're playing in groups of 4, everything bad just seems to happen. And again, we have all the paraphernalia, the touch generations or whatever they're calling it, little catalogue. As I said, I love these catalogues. So this was the Brain Training 2 era. Zelda, Mario Party DS. The Pikachus, Pokemons. Nintendo's, Animal Crossing, Advance Wars, what? And then a little bit of Wii at the end, Super Mario Galaxy, Metroid Prime. Another after Wii at the end. It's very colourful inside of the box instead of just white paper too. That way, right? So as you can see, this Kirby is no more. It can't be seen. That'll teach you. And next up we have another great Nintendo game actually. It's DK King of Swing. It's on the Game Boy Advance. One of those times where Nintendo were allowing developers, because I don't think this is first party, I could be wrong though, I'm not seeing another developer name. But to be really inventive with their franchise, particularly Donkey Kong, like you had the bongos, and he was platforming with bongos, and then you have like King of Swing, where the entire game is played with just the L and the R shoulder buttons, so it's left hand swing or right hand swing. I've never played it, so I'll be curious to see how it works out, because it kind of sounds like, oh, how could you make a full game out of just, doing left and right swing, but they made it work with bongos. Ooh. And next up, with these cardboard ones, I probably won't take them out because they're kind of awkward to get cardboard games back in and out. We have SSX 3. It's you against the mountain, just like Muhammad. And it was actually, funny enough, one Christmas years back, when the PlayStation 2 was relatively new, I think it was, or the GameCube, one or the other, I actually got my friend Freya plus SSX Tricky as a Christmas present. And he'd never played any of these kind of trick style games or anything like that before. But I'd seen reviews in it, and for whatever reason, I just had this impression that he'd really like it. And by God, does he really like SSX? Because I think he's bought every single SSX game since then. And the only one I don't recall him liking was the, I think it was the Wii one with motion controls. Though I could be mistaken. Memory and whatnot, not what it used to be. A bit more Sega goodness then with Sonic Advance 3. I've only played the first Sonic Advance game. But if you exclude, the compilation packs, the Sonic Advance games were easily the best Sonic games since, the 16-bit era. Oh, this is the team up where you have like 2-player team up, and although I never played it, it always reminded me of Chaotix, where you had, supposedly the duality of players. I've no way to know the time. I should have got a clock for this one, but so I'm trying to kind of move it on. But next up we have Big Brain Academy. I was going to say Brain Training, Brain Training, and this is the kind of junior, is it, or the less serious Brain Training. I did play Brain Training for quite a while, similar insights to Mario Party. I played it for like a month or more maybe, and to be fair, let's start stacking more this side. To be fair, I thought it was a good game, particularly the Sudoku. The Sudoku was great in Brain Training, but it's hard to kind of keep in with those, minutes a day games. Eventually, I think they just don't really hold your appeal. There's only one of those that I played for any at a time, but I won't talk about that now. Next up, we have an N64 game, which is awesome. I love the N64; it's like my favorite console. There's Turok 2, Seeds of Evil, one of the classics of the system, and so much so that it had a Nintendo Awesome sticker from Nintendo Official Magazine, and of course it's a 15 rating, presumably thanks to the cerebral bore that actually shot and would drill into someone's head and cause their brain to blow up. And when you describe a game like that, you just know people want it. I played a bit of it in multiplayer. Now, I was more of a GoldenEye fan back in the day because, well, I suppose it's easier to understand when if you shoot a human in the head, you're going to die. But sometimes, you shoot these monsters and whatnot, and it's not the same effect. However, it's apparently a good game. Although I always thought, people give off about GoldenEye and the blocky hands, but the fog in Turok is like, oh look, there's a building. Because I took one step forward and the draw distance was only like 5 steps forward. Getting through them now, and another N64 game, it is Wetrix, which price sticker on the back as well, $13.99. Freya Plush got a good deal on that one, because he was mad after this game. When I was reading Nintendo magazine and N64, actually it was really just N64 magazine most of the time, and really interested about like Zelda coming up, he was mad for Wetrix. A puzzle game, I think, he really wanted a good puzzle game, and I do believe he quite liked it. But for me, apparently it is an amazing 1 or 2 player 3D game for battling. But when I played it with him, I couldn't understand what was going on, so he just kicked my ass. But I always thought that the game reminded me of the populous raising the land mechanics, but turned into a puzzler. I could be mistaken. I'm sure he can let me know. And last box game then, we have Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. I actually borrowed this ages back, like before I even had an internet connection, and I was really enjoying it. It was a good adventure game, and for an early N64 title, had a good graphics too on it. And way more impressive than Turok, because you could see where you were going. But the problem was I got stuck in it, and like I had no guide. As I said, no internet, or if I had it was like dial-up connection that was, basically my parents' dial-up connection, and it was only allowed to be used in cases of extreme emergency. And I don't think I'm a bit stuck in Goemon was an emergency. But I wonder, do I have a save? No, this is designed for N64 control back, so I wonder, do I have a save somewhere for that game? Maybe finally 10 years later I can get past that point. So we got some loose cards then, and I'm going to have to try and whip through them because, as I said, I'm not too sure of the time and how much memory I've left on my camera. First up we have Final Fantasy 1 and 2, Dawn of Souls, Game Boy Advance. This was like the remake that they did, and it made the games more accessible and whatnot. I've only ever played Final Fantasy 7 and 8 a lot. I tried 3, I played a bit of 3 and kind of got into it. But the problem was that it's one of those games that you nearly need to sit down for quite a long time, build up your party and become invested, and it's hard to get those times. So I wonder how approachable these games are. And in a similar vein, in terms of requiring investment, it is a lovely banana yellow cart for survival kids. Is it 2 or survival kids? I can't quite read the label. This is basically the precursor series to Lost in Blue on the DS, and I completed Lost in Blue on the DS. It was a really good game. Very hard to start off with because you're literally just shipwrecked and you're about to die. And if you don't kind of get food and shelter immediately, you're dead. Game over. But once you get past the initial bit, it's really compelling, and apparently the Game Boy version might have even been better. So another one, looking forward to trying. Next up we have some N64 loose cards. Wave Race 64. Good old wave physics. Apparently, according to Miyamoto, this pushed the N64 to 90% of its potential, and it was pretty much a launch title. If only in PAL Land we hadn't got those horrible borders. But I thought this played better from what I have played than Blue Storm, the GameCube game, and Shadow Man. And I've played this again, but it was kind of like came out after Zelda or something like that, and kind of got buried from me because it would have required a lot of investment, and it seemed like a good game, but when you're kind of in between Zeldas and waiting for Perfect Dark and whatnot, it's easy for and this is the problem, like it was easy for third-party titles on Nintendo systems to get buried, and that's kind of what, at least for me, happened to Shadow Man. And next up we have Castlevania. I assume this is the first Castlevania on N64, because the cheeky buggers released like 2 right back to back. I mean, clearly they didn't have to release the first one when they did. But I have a feeling that I'm not going to think that this is as bad as people say it is. When I look at videos and people are bashing it, or you see like the Angry Nerd do it, and he pointed out some critical flaws in terms of game mechanics and construction that are absolutely unacceptable. While I was sitting there like watching it going, man, that's terrible. At the same stage I was looking going, I got a funny feeling it might also be a pretty okay game when you get past those things. And finally on the N64 front we have Extreme G. I'm surprised that they picked this title up, because I wouldn't have put them down as an Extreme G fan. But yeah, to me, I have played this a bit as well back in the day, but compared to say F-Zero X in particular, and even Wipeout 64, the Extreme G series played kind of third fiddle. It was a pretty decent title though for early on, when there was you know, titles were a bit, shall we say, scarce on the ground on the N64. In terms of racing, you were talking about this for futuristic, and Top Gear Rally for sort of a more real sports, and nothing for realistic. And finally we have a few bits of figurines, which I probably ain't even going to recognise. Well, I'll recognise this one first. It is a little key charm thing, and it is a thundercloud and a golden mushroom. Presumably these are Mario Kart items, because you know it's always great to shrink people in Mario Kart, which you can in the original do with mushrooms, and with that, or at least Toad could do it with mushrooms. And next up we have a Pokemon, and I believe this is Torchic or something like that. No, stay up there. You didn't want to stay. And I know this is a Final Fantasy character with, is it a Moogle or, I don't know, something like one of that. Probably from Final Fantasy 10 or 10-2 or something like that. Has it got a name in the back? Nope. Just says made in China on the back. So if anyone knows who that is, you can feel free to let me know. I know who this is though. It's Meowth. That's right. This is like some sort of clip. I have no idea what this is. I assume it clips onto like a ring or something. And then lastly we have E-Honda, a little pin badge. Which I wonder where this came from, because it's Capcom 1993. So if anyone has any idea what's that from or what that's related to, please let me know. But anyway, things falling down. As you can see, Rouge is pretty much covered, Kirby's well covered, Snorlax is probably buggered off down to the other end of the room now. He's, why did I appear? Because that was one hell of a lot, and of course my musical interlude, which I won't play again. But a massive thank you to Freya Plus and Higgs Tengar for, well, quite a donation to the collection. And if I was to sit down and play all these alone, I know I would be playing for like the next year at least. You have like RPGs and you know, brain games and Animal Crossing, which you could play alone for a year, you know, so it might be a while before I make my way through this. So thanks for everything in that massive box. Too generous, frankly. There is such a thing. And thanks to everyone else for watching, because I'm sure this has been quite a long one. I tried to get through them fairly fast because their own kinds have been getting long. I hope you enjoyed, as always, and please like, subscribe, and you know, rate and those good things. Until next time, I'm sure, as the card said, you know, keep making videos in 2012. I'm sure I'll make another one, but it probably won't have such a massive haul. Bye for now.